Okay, let's start the meeting. We can call the meeting to order and I'll ask Sarah for a roll call.
Bont is not here. Bo,
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Raphael
Here.
and Kubasiak.
Here. Okay. Second item on our agenda this evening is any changes or additions, deletions to the agenda. I don't know of anything myself. Anyone else have any? I have none. Any items? Have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
As presented, right? I'll second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Agenda's approved. Okay, we have approval of the minutes from our March 12th meeting, regular meeting. And I believe all four of us, as I recall, were at that meeting. And so, oh, there's Matt. Sorry. Hey, that's all right. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Matt.
Matt is in attendance.
I am in attendance.
Okay, it's all right. Glad you can make it. We're on our approval of a minutes, third agenda item, Matt, for tonight's meeting and from last month's meeting. March, April. Yeah, well, Marches anyway. Anyone have any comments, changes, deletions, or additions to the minutes from that meeting?
I do not.
No. No, I don't either. I thought it was very well written and put together. So again, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the March 12th meeting, 2026.
So move.
Second. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. At this point in time, we do a public comments on the agenda. If anybody has any public comments on the agenda that's appeared tonight, we ask anybody to do that at this time. Are you part of the applicant or?
I am the applicant.
You are the applicant.
Wholly and in part.
Okay.
And some public comments on just the agenda, not the item.
Yep, well, that's the way our agenda reads, that it's on the agenda. On
You
agenda
do have
item,
open public comments at the end of the meeting.
we do that at the end, but right now it's on the agenda, yeah.
He wants to comment during the public hearing, I think.
Pardon?
He wants to comment during the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, right, that's what I was saying, yeah, so if there's no one else, we'll ask you to make comments on the application, unless you have something else besides that, but pertaining to your application, once we do the public hearing, then we'll ask you to do your presentation.
Well, I have some comments to make if that's appropriate at this time.
On the agenda, but not the applicant.
Not on the agenda.
Not on the agenda.
I'm sorry.
For your application.
Pre-application.
Application.
Yes.
So
So that would come up during the public hearing. We'll ask you to come forward and give that information at the time when we open the public hearing.
as such, I have no comment on the agenda.
Okay. All right, then let's move along to old business, which says none. So anybody have any old business? I guess we didn't change the agenda, so that would be. You don't have to do anything on that, do we? If there's just none, we don't have to have an approval.
Yeah, just none.
Nothing to approve. Okay, new business is our application tonight, which is 810 Allegan Street, a dimensional variance request. And at that time, I would like to ask Grayson, our zoning administrator, if he could give us a review of the application for that.
Could you just call the public hearing to order first?
Pardon?
Would you call the public hearing to order first, quick?
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry. I will do that right now. Sarah would like to call the public, hearing, to order and then start with having the zoning administrator give us a summary. If you would, please.
So the applicant here is proposing an expansion to the existing principal dwelling at 810 Allegan and is requesting a variance from the minimum front yard setback measured from East Street for an addition of a front porch, and that variance is for 15 feet, and for the sunroom addition in the rear at 6.3 feet, as well as a maximum lot coverage requirement to exceed the maximum by 5.3%.
Good. All right. Thanks. And then at this time, I would like to ask the applicant to state your name, address, if you would, for the recording records, and go ahead and give us a presentation on your application.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the zoning board and the public. My name is Mark Fiends. This is my partner, Bill Collins. We reside at 810 Elegant Street, and we certainly appreciate your time this evening. As these variance requests rely a great deal on technical zoning points, which I am only modestly familiar, and I don't do a great deal of public speaking, I ask the board to indulge me as I read from my prepared comments. So thank you.
Yeah.
You've all reviewed our application and the recommendation. So I'd like to keep this focused and address what appears to be the central concern with the zoning commentary. In reviewing that commentary, there are several references to the prior owner's variance request. And respectfully, that comparison casts a shadow which does not belong here. We are not the prior owners, and our request is fundamentally different. Our approach has been measured, thoughtful, and quite restrained. We are focused on preserving the historic character of this home, not expanding it in any excessive way. We fully understand that variances are meant for limited and unique circumstances, and we respect that. That is precisely why, for both the front porch and the rear sunroom, we are not seeking to extend further into setbacks, but instead work within the home's existing non-conforming building lots. From the commentary, it appears the primary concern is lot coverage, specifically that the sunroom is being viewed as an additional living space. And candidly, that framing misses the point. Of course, the sunroom is an appealing addition. Who wouldn't want that in Michigan? But that is not the basis of this request. The real issue is the property has no viable compliant expansion area at all. That is the unique circumstances, not the desire for more space. There are truly no comparable lots to ours. This is the smallest, one of the smallest parcels in the R1 area at approximately 0.19 acres. And as a corner lot, it is uniquely constrained with dual front setbacks, as even the zoning commentary acknowledges that significantly reduces the buildable envelope. You can clearly see this based upon the public notice that went out. Our lot is materially smaller than the surroundings. It is by far the smallest lot in the R1 district. And you can see the dual constraints around Allegan and East Street, of which no other lot of comparable size has to bear that burden. Even the closest comparison, our neighbor at 816 Allegan, is an interior lot not constrained by dual setbacks and includes an additional 546 square foot cottage, which encroaches upon our property. Other nearby homes sit on half-acre or larger parcels with significantly more square footage. For example, a home across the street at 813 Allegan is being constructed at nearly 3,750 square feet on over a half an acre. I am sure they will enjoy their additional living space. Our lovely next door neighbor home at 715 Allegan has a beautiful home of over 2,500 square feet on 0.6 acres, and I'm sure they very much enjoy their additional living space. So again, yes, those homeowners enjoy the additional living space, and I imagine they enjoy it a great bit, as they well should. But more importantly, they achieve that enjoyment without needing variances because their lots allow it. Ours does not. Because of the non-conforming lot width, reduced lot area, historic placement of the home, and dual setbacks, there is no compliant locations anywhere on this property for an addition. That is the hardship. So the only practical option is to work within the existing footprint, which is exactly what we are doing. The sunroom is not an expansion into new territory. It largely follows the footprint of the existing deck. It is the formalization of space that already exists and occupies real estate already on the lot. Without the variance, that space remains underutilized and exposed despite already being part of the property. If you look at the survey markup, and I would ask that you look at this one that shows what we're proposing to do. I believe it's Exhibit B. If you look at that survey markup, you will see clearly we are maintaining existing structural lines. We are not creating any new encroachments. Portions of the porch, over 54 square feet, already exist. The sunroom follows the existing, more or less, footprint of the deck. This is the least intrusive design solution intended not to be an overreach. And to be clear, we recognize that the lot is near build-out. And I respectfully ask that that is not an argument against the variance. It is precisely the argument for our variance request. Because of the constraints on this property, its size, configuration, and historic placement, there is no other reasonable path for improvement. Finally, while we are not asking for any formal consideration for the adjacent city-owned right-of-way, it is relevant context. That additional open space, approximately 3,000 square feet, over 1/3 the size of our entire lot, supports drainage, access, and maintenance, and helps mitigate the practical impact of any modest increase in lot coverage. In closing, this is not a request for excess. It is a request to make modest, typical improvements in the only way that a uniquely constrained property allows. And ultimately, that is your decision. But on a conforming lot, this wouldn't be a variance at all. We've designed the least intrusive solution possible using existing footprints. We're simply asking for a reasonable way to improve a uniquely constrained property. We respectfully ask that the board evaluate this request on its own merits that have been adequately addressed and met the dimensional variance standards: 1, burden of due and strict compliance; 2, substantial justice; 3, the property's unique circumstances; and 4, that the issue is not self-created; and of the use variance standards of 1, specific use; 2, the unique circumstances; 3, maintenance of neighborhood character; and 4, the issue is not self-created, and ask that you approve both the front porch and the rear sunroom variance request. Thank you for indulging me in my oration.
Good job, Mark. Thank you. Appreciate it. You can have a seat if you want to relax a little bit, and we'll go into our deliberation and if we have questions, we'll reach out to you with any questions we have.
All right.
Prior to that, well, let me say prior to that, the way for the board and for Mark Bill, is it? Yes. So you can understand what we are being asked to look at, as Mark reviewed, is both really a dimensional issue on the porch side and on the on the east side, I would say, on the east side of the property is where that hits. You don't have a problem with the Halligan setback side. That meets the front yard of that side. We have the front yard of the corner lot on the east side and East Street, should say even, I'm sorry, I meant East Street. I got to get the west.
East Street on the west.
Sorry, I meant that, East Street, I'm getting east to go. And then so how that relates to the porch and also to the other expansion, which also has, both include lot coverage. So we will take a look at what we want to do is, we may end up taking a look at those because there's really a potential here for, as you probably may have read in some of the reviews, that there is a potential for, we have a choice of approving or disapproving both of those situations, right?
Yep.
And then there's an option that we could approve a portion of that, one or the other, or whatever we would choose to do to either one of those, I guess, might be a way to also expand. In doing so, when we go through our standards to the board, what I want to do tonight is I want to go through the standards in two ways. One is with in mind that there is a potential of having a lot coverage compliant option with a dimensional setback on East Street. And then there is also a lot coverage issue. And what we have when we go through our standards is those are two different mindsets as opposed to one. Because if we think of both of them and go through the standards once, there's more option that you're either going to get them all passed or none passed. Because if one fails, they all fail. So if you follow that, my intent is to go through the set of standards twice. Okay. That okay? You got that? You okay with that? All right, understand. All right. Boy, I will start with anybody that wants to have any.
When do we do public comments for the application?
We
We don't have
we don't have that till the end, right?
No, you're at public comment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We do public comments. I'm sorry. And in regard to any letters or any form and any correspondence, which we do have, right? Yeah. So let's do that. I believe there's somewhere in this pile, there is a letter, correct?
I don't have that one.
Anybody have it?
Very.
And the-
That's at the last page.
I believe it's at the end of the packet.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Do you want to, would you mind reading it?
Sure.
For us?
Yeah.
Yeah. For any correspondence, public correspondence?
Sure. So this is the letter we received from John Thomas. It reads, Zoning Board of Appeals. I am writing in response to a zoning variance request for 810 Allegan Street. I'm opposed to both the coverage variance as well as the setback request because there does not appear to be a hardship or other compelling reasons to waive guidelines that apply to everyone else. I'm sure the request would make the property owners happy, but I don't think that is sufficient reason to change the rules that have been established for a variety of good reasons. Additionally, if I understand correctly, this property has already benefited from variances in the past, and the recent buyers should have researched things like coverage and setbacks when they bought. If they had, they would have learned that 810 was denied a variance request on similar grounds not that long ago. John Thomas, a close proximity property owner, 51026.
So that falls under our option of saying that's an opposing comment to the application. Do we have any other opposing or supporting correspondence? No, actually, we're in our own deliberation right now.
Oh.
So if you, like I said, if you want to relax, sit down, we'll talk to you later when we need it. Yep. Is there any other written correspondence that you know of, Grayson?
No other written correspondence.
All right. So no other supporting or no other non-supporting, opposing comments that are in writing. anyone in the audience that would like to speak, either for a supporting or opposing comments right now, please take the podium, please.
I'm Brian Stevens, owner with my wife at 750 Allegan Street, which Mark referred to. We are on the essentially adjacent corner of Allegan and East, so directly across the road. Just one quick point in response to something that Mark mentioned. Yes, we do have a bigger property. Our family bought 3 lots and didn't build on the 2 lots. We had a house on 1 lot. And when it was time to expand, we took advantage of the fact that we had purchased 2 other lots. So that's what you see today. You see a combined 3 lots that we have taken advantage of. But up until 10 years ago, the house was on the lot that is closest to the corner of Allegan and East. So that's just a minor point. So I have been involved in support of the 2 prior applications that were made on this property. The first one was purely a setback for an addition, expansion of the property that was approved. And the most recent one, which was, I believe, last year, was a combination of setback and coverage requests. I invested a lot of physical and emotional energy in support of their request because I thought it was a reasonable request. We were very disappointed, obviously, after that that the second request was in fact declined, but understood also the technical points and the rules and the guidelines that you all operate under. So totally respect the decision. Which sort of brings us to this application. Obviously, Mark and John moved in less than a year ago after they purchased the home. I'm no technical expert. I have been on the Board of Review, not the Board of Appeals. So I don't know the detailed rules, but it does, when I read it, contrary to what Mark said, it seems very, very similar. It varies in degree, admittedly, but it seems very, very similar in terms of the request that was being made, both a setback exception or exceptions and also a coverage exception. So given that we were very supportive of the prior application and, obviously that was not approved, I just ask the board, all of you and the staff, no matter what the decision that you make is, I request that you, really delineate so that people really understand the basis for your decision. If it's an approval, to your point, Mr. Chair, it may be an approval or partial approval of one or the other, whatever you guys decide is, we will respect. But having lived with this for some time, this is the third go around on the same property, that I ask that you really do delineate and be very explicit as to the rationale and the guidelines so that we all know as residents of the city as to why you made the decision and the like, and whatever it is, it is. But, I'm not sure where we stand, whether we want you to think. I'm not even going to go into that because there's so much history on this property that we've got a fairly long record on. So that's what I have to say.
All right.
Very much.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Across the street neighbor. So, well, okay, couple of things. One thing is, I want to make sure if I'm saying, so this is current, what I had, I think what we received electronically, I don't recall, did it have the marks on it? The red and mark?
It was supposed to. I don't know why when it went into the packet, those went away. That's why I printed it for you today so that you could see the red's what's being proposed and the blue is already approved.
Is already approved, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a pass approval, the blue, okay. Yeah, that was the last one, okay, I understand. You guys got that? Okay. Now, if you want to, I didn't understand it for sure. What they were showing. I mean, I understood what they were proposing, but I wanted to make sure we all understood that. And then seemed to be, was there a question on was there a prior to the garage setback? Was there something on that? Did we know when that happened or?
Yeah, so I actually did take a closer look into that today and I was not actually able to find any record of an approved variance for the garage. So that would currently be an existing nonconformity.
So that's, yeah, okay. So without approval, that'd be a non-conforming. Okay, so no record of that. That's not that old of a so if you didn't find anything, it may have just happened without any kind of permit or?
Well, they did receive a zoning permit for it in 2011
Okay,
and that was approved. They just, I'm not sure if they were just not prompted to go to the zoning board of appeals. to
or
get
if it
that
was done
approved.
administratively without the variance?
That might happen.
I see, okay. All right, well, all right, I was just curious about that and wasn't quite sure. Because there's been a number of things done to this property so we're just trying to make sure we understand what has been pre-approved with things from 1800 or whatever. When was the property built? 1800? 1890, yeah, so, yeah. Okay. So first of all, any questions on the way I suggested we take a look at this? Because there is the porch square footage, we'll say, that adds to the lot coverage. There is the enclosing of the deck property that adds to the square footage, the total. The two put some, is it 5-point-something% over?
5.3%. Also,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Going
would you
from-
close the public hearing, please?
Pardon?
Would you close the public comment portion?
Oh, I didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
apologize.
okay, thank you.
Get going on this stuff. Like to close public comments then. Sorry,
Thank you.
we've lost the public. Elvis has left, Brian has left the room. How's that? Yeah. So 5.3 is the total, what their applicant is asking for, between the two asks. And, whereas the porch, I believe I'm going to go from memory here, was about 30 square feet, could be added and keep them 30 or so square feet, 29 square feet under the 30%. But also requires a setback from East Street from the 5-foot, it requires a 15-foot setback variance, because they would be building in that territory where it would be normally have to have a 20-foot setback. So a 15-foot setback there is required. And then if there was also on the enclosed patio porch, deck, whatever we're calling it here, I guess, there would need to be a setback requirement for that for 13 something, 13.6 or so. Can't remember. And then also, then you have the lot coverage, which that alone, that area would put them over the 30%. So that's why I think that what we need to do is understand that there's a potential of a variance for the setback on East Street to build the porch within a conforming lot coverage. And there is a potential of also that along with approving the deck enclosure and setback from East Street for that portion as both But if you look at those two, one could be done and and if we were to not approve both, then they do not both meet the lot coverage. So that is why when we go through the standard, I think we have to go through and do one based on the fact that our motions or our thoughts could be, we're either going to approve both of them. We could approve one. But you can't approve the lot coverage or the deck enclosure and setback there if the lot coverage is an issue on that one, or the percentage is too high without the other. So we could do one or the other. We could do both or deny them both. That's the way we go through this. So all that talking on, what do you got? Any questions?
Question. The deck that's there now on the north side of the property, was that not permitted? Or are you allowed to build a deck without a permit? Is it not
Depends
cut?
on the height. Right?
If it's less than 2 feet high,
2 feet
I
high.
think it's more of a patio. It's more of a slab. isn't
Patio,
it?
yeah.
If it's less than 2 feet high, it's allowed by right. But if it's, and not enclosed,
And not enclosed.
And not enclosed?
not covered, not enclosed. If you're going to cover it or enclose it, and it's more than 2 feet off the ground, then it adds into your lot coverage.
Okay, so it's not currently part of the lot coverage, even though it's there.
That's my understanding,
Okay.
yes.
Because I believe it's flat. Yeah.
But it doesn't it appear to be 2 feet high, doesn't it? Or is it just a matter of splitting hairs on the height?
It would really get counted toward lot coverage if it was enclosed.
Right, well,
So it currently isn't.
now, how high is it now? Does it count toward lot coverage now?
No.
Because it's not 2 feet high? Is that the idea? Is that what you just said?
I believe that's what he said. I believe it does have to be covered in some aspect for it to actually count towards the lot coverage.
Correct.
But Mark, can I ask you a question, or Bill? How high is that right now, just roughly guessing?
I believe the height is approximately 18 inches.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
I mean, we drove by it. It didn't look like it was too high or anything or higher.
Well, that's why I said, are we splitting hairs on is it just a question of whether it's 18 or whether it's 24 inches?
Yeah, if it's 24, it does count towards lot coverage, or if it's a roofed patio.
Even though it's ostensibly, I assume, attached to the house.
Yes.
Well,
So. Okay.
Well, I guess if it was.
attached or unattached, it'd be included in the lot coverage.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
If it's
If it's covered.
if it's covered, yeah.
It's covered.
If it's covered,
If it's covered or enclosed, it counts as lot coverage.
Yeah.
If it's not not covered and not enclosed and less than 24 inches, so it's allowed to align with the foundation. That's what they're getting at. You can put a small deck out there. And then it does not count into lot coverage.
So a 30-inch high deck would be part of your lot coverage.
And-
Even if it wasn't enclosed.
and so in this, you've got existing 26.6% lot coverage now, is that the idea? Like, it's 26.6 existing. Is that what it is now?
Yes, yeah, without the,
And in that calculation, then, from what we've just said, you're not including the deck. Is
Correct.
not included.
yep, correct.
Correct. And I think that, let's see, I had a thought as you were talking there. Hang on a second, Rick. And a part of our process of going through the standards is we have to make sure we know the percentage and where we're going.
I'm reading along with what you've got here. I'm just trying to figure this out a little
Yeah.
bit more.
So if the front porch was added, that would add 254 square feet to the current. And that would still be under 30%. So you could add the front porch with a 15-foot variance from East Street, because no variance from Allegan is required. So if you added the front porch that they've put, you're not exceeding the lot coverage requirement. Just the front porch. If you added the back, you need a variance from East Street because it's less than 20 feet to add the red sunrooms that we've got there. So that would require a dimensional variance, as does the front porch. That's the only variance the front porch requires. But to add the sunroom in the back to enclose that area, you need a dimensional variance. And those A and B, and I would say probably A or B, no. A and B together puts you over the lot coverage by like 5% over.
Why is there an A? I wonder why is there A and B? I mean, why is it?
I don't know why. That's the first time I've seen that.
Mhm.
Man,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I apologize. This is an incorrect drawing, but right here, this is what the Vichys added up. This is a primary bathroom that they added up.
Correct, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I've been speaking of. So in order to calculate this, because I only made 10th grade math, I had to do A section here because of the 3.3 foot 1 inch here. So section A, section B allows you to see that I actually did the math right to add the two. So section A.
It's just a matter of convenience for
Yeah,
figuring
just-
it out.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't look at this and say, well, what about this little jog here? And you know.
Yeah.
So it does represent the 464 feet. This,
Okay.
this area here.
So A and B are a package, and those would increase the lot coverage together with the front porch and put you more than 5% over. A and B by themselves would put you over. So they would, to do those would need 2 variances. So we're looking at a total of 3 variance requests, one for the front porch dimensional, a 15-foot variance. Because they have 5 feet there now, they need 20. So we would, if that were to be approved, that would be a 15-foot variance. And it would not require a variance for lot coverage if the front porch alone were approved. If the back porch alone were approved, the sunroom, that would require 2 variances, one for dimension and one for lot coverage. And if the 2 together were approved, the lot coverage issue gets greater.
There's been some, references to the lot itself. And, let's think, before we get into any of the standards, any kind of a review of the lot and some comments that, the applicant has made and we are familiar with of sort, that the existing house is a old enough to be a pre-existing situation where it does actually sit on or exceed the lot line a little bit from many, many years ago. So that is like a nonconformity that what we kind of refer to as a conforming nonconformity. If you, they're
A legal
a
nonconformity.
legal nonconforming, a legal nonconformity or nonconformity. Then there was some, there's been a comments about taking into consideration the city-owned property, which doesn't happen to any of our calculations. Our calculations are only done on the lot sizes themselves, not what the city owns on around you.
City-owned property that's the right of way. That's between the street and the sidewalk or wherever the lot line is. That's a condition for every lot in town.
Yeah,
There's absolutely nothing unique about that.
nothing there.
And the same thing would apply on the front. There is a right of way on Allegan Street, a city right of way.
That was my only question. I was having a hard time because it just seems like that's the easement. Or that's the That's what everybody would have to deal with.
Right, yeah, we all,
I did understand that correctly then.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, the way lot coverage is considered, it is your actual lot surveys and your, whatever fits that
Mhm.
coverage criteria in the ordinance, that is of whatever item that is being on there that meets it. The west or the east side of the property, it does meet most of the east side setbacks. Fortunately, unfortunately, they do have a conforming setback off of Old Allegan Road, which is a pretty good situation for the porch request. There's been, as you're aware, our last meeting, a prior extension of zoning approval to add in the blue, call it the blue area. But then there was looking for more additional space, I think even larger than this applicant. And the lot coverage was not met on that application from a prior owner. Both at that time, still, as we find now, that there was not any kind of a variance, so you have a non-conforming, existing non-conforming garage with the short-term rental, STR, I believe above that, if that's how they choose to use it. But, and I imagine the north side without a dimension, and that would be a 10-foot, and I don't know if that's even conforming there. So the setback there and maybe even the back is non-conforming on that garage building. But that's not what's in front of us.
Additionally, as was pointed out to the previous owner, there is a possibility for expansion, and that's up. So that's always a possibility, just to expand up, which doesn't add into your lot coverage.
Yeah.
Within the existing
house.
footprint, yes.
Yeah, existing footprint.
So there is that possibility as well, if more space is required.
Yeah. So, I mean, there has been some prior history, and there has been some discussions about the size of the property is smaller than a standard lot by 6%, is that right? 6.3, I guess we talked about, something like that. Which is smaller, not drastically smaller. Sometimes we get unusual shaped lots that are not rectangular like we have here. But we do
I would point out that we have lots in town and on the far side of the river that have no buildable area whatsoever.
Yeah.
We have seen that situation.
Right, yeah. Where a setback, yeah, where you may end up with a setback to make a buildable, or at least some type of a facility.
That particular one, you had the setback from the road, the setback from the water, and the setback from the neighbor, all overlapping in one area. There was no buildable area, so that is the situation we see, that type of situation.
So that happens with, especially in our community.
In an older town.
They are in an area where there are some nice sized lots, as the applicant referenced. So the scalability of it is, and as like Brian, said, they ended up combining lots to try to accommodate their standards. They're not in that situation that they can do that.
If you wanted to expand this, you could also take out the garage, which is non-conforming. That's another option.
Yeah.
The garage in the ADU. That would free up floor area. So there are options. Maybe not the best, but there are options.
Yeah. So what else? Anybody any notes, any thoughts before we start? Because the first round of going through the standards will be on the porch. And the idea of if you're, or as a reference, there is the variance on the porch. In order to build a porch would be that it is conforming within the lot coverage, but it does need a setback from this lot line back.
From East Street.
You guys, you follow that, Matt?
Yep.
Okay. Chris, you got it? Because there is a 5 foot already set back and it's supposed to be 20, so they need 15 feet as a variance to be able to build that porch.
But the main house has like a -1 foot set, like it's over the line,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so I mean, it's the overall house is on the line. So yeah, so this is just.
Yeah,
a
there's
variance for a small
there is
portion.
that protrusion right there. You mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, according to if we can understand the line on the survey, it says it's 5 feet from the lot line
mhm.
as opposed to,
Where the porch would go on the
Right.
yeah,
extension
yeah.
of the front of the house.
But
Yeah, that was just my thought, was just.
yeah, they're wanting to start at that point the way it shows.
Mhm.
So we're not including that extension. Yeah, it says 1 foot. So in theory, there's a 6 foot, but the lot line, as the way we would be viewing it, our variances would come from the lot line, I
Mhm.
think, yeah.
Mhm.
Is there any questions before we do the standards on this portion of it? Anybody? Pretty good to start with it? Okay, so gather your thoughts. And we're gonna go through the standards. Get your little pieces of paper out here. Thank you for putting them on single-sided. I appreciate that. Great. So, all right. Would anybody like to start with one of on the first one standard to read?
I will.
Jimmy? Okay.
Okay, standard number 1, and again, we're referring to the front porch specifically and exclusively in this pass-through of the standards. That strict compliance with area setbacks, frontage height, bulk, or density would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for permitted purpose or would render conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Preventing a relatively shallow front porch addition may be considered unnecessarily burdensome. It's a minor architectural accent that would allow for a covered entry to the dwelling as well as reasonably sized outdoor sitting area. Further, the size of the front porch, 254 square feet, would not result in a lot coverage over 30% based on the information provided by the applicant and a reduced setback of 5 feet. That's, the setback would be 5 feet. The variance would be 15 feet from the 20-foot standard. Would allow the porch to extend along the primary facade of the house. So based on the information we've got here, I would say that we could consider this to be this standard to be met for the front porch, to allow coverage of the front door and to have a coverage over the front door and to protect the front door.
So, yeah, this would require a 15.
A 15-foot variance from the 20-foot requirement.
From the 20 foot, so there'd be like a 5 foot from the 5 foot setback or from the 5.
So you'd have a setback of 5 feet
Uh-huh.
From the street.
from the lot line, which is the 5 feet shown on the drawing.
Yeah. Let's have some discussion on that, you guys. Is there, it would allow the applicant to build a porch, meet the lot coverage, and based on, as we keep going through the standards, whether, it has to meet all 4 standards in order to be approved. The first one, the question is, and Jim's comments were that feels that it based on the information provided, it could beat that standard with a variance, a 15-foot variance. I would agree that the way our standards read, and it, you know, it would allow them to use the property for permitted use, and you are meeting, they're going to meet a conforming portion of the property to do that with a variance that is somewhat in line with the others that we have on East Street.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I would say where the house is on that East Street property line, I think it would be unnecessarily burdensome to try to say that you would have to meet the setback for this small addition when the house doesn't meet.
yeah.
That's my opinion. So I would vote to say
Yeah,
yes.
I
for
mean,
that.
there is a little bit of a break there, as it was a 5-foot break anyway, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. Yeah, anybody else? Chris or Richard, you got any?
I
feeling?
agree.
Okay,
I agree.
yeah, I agree too. All right. All right, Chris, would you like to read the second standard?
Sure. The standard is how to explain how a variance would do substantial justice to the owner as well as to other property owners in the district. And whether a lesser relaxation would give substantial relief and be more consistent with justice to others. Granting the variance would do substantial justice to the owner while preserving fairness in neighboring property owners. The proposed covered porch does not expand the building footprint for habitual space, does not increase residential density, it does not encroach onto or further forward to the street, does not impair light, air, does not impair light, air, or access to neighboring properties. The relief requested is limited to a 6-foot setback, the minimum necessary to construct a functional covered entry. A lesser relaxation would not allow meaningful weather protection and would therefore fail to provide practical relief. The improvement will reduce stormwater runoff, prevent ice hazards, preserve a historic structure, improve the visual appearance of the property. And so granting the variance preserves neighborhood character and promotes responsible stewardship of an aging home. And I agree. I think it looks great.
Okay.
I think that the justice to the owners is clear, but the justice to the others is also clear in that we are not granting a setback variance off of Allegan Street
Right.
because every home on Allegan Street lines up.
Yeah.
And everyone there would want a variance if we were to grant a setback variance on the Allegan Street side. So I think this does justice to the other Allegan Street residents as well. So I agree that the standard is met.
I would agree.
I support that. Rich?
Support, yes.
Yeah. Okay, just a feel here, okay. How about Matt, number 3? You would like,
Sure, number 3,
I'm sorry, no, you did one already, right?
No, I did.
Oh, you just, sorry, I thought I had it right, yeah, that's right.
that the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances of the property and not to general neighborhood conditions. Comment is the corner lot designation and non-conforming size and width are somewhat unique, but these factors do not relate to that's lot coverage. Regarding the front setback, the corner lot designation, non-conforming width are somewhat unique, have a greater importance on compliance. The design of the existing facade and the need for reasonably sized covered entry to mitigate weather-related impacts and deterioration may be considered unique circumstances related to the need for a setback reduction. Yeah, I think this is reasonable. The front porch is reasonable for this in this situation. Mhm.
Yeah, seems that the seems like the way that was reviewed is acceptable on the porch, at least for that for a dimensional issue on the from the east.
Yeah, because I mean, just where the house is relative to the lot line is not the owner's
Yeah.
fault. And I think staying consistent with Allegan Street, it's important.
Yeah. And keeping within that footprint's pretty nice, so. And meeting the, you know, the setback from Allegan, but I would support that also.
I would as well.
Chris?
I,
Yeah, agreed.
All right, how about the last one, Rich, if you wanted to
Okay.
cover four?
Yeah, the last one is that the problem is not self-created or based on personal financial circumstances. The problem related to setback compliance for the front porch addition should be considered a factor related to the pre-existing conditions of the building, the corner lot designation, and the existing lot width. Additionally, the problems resulting from weather-related impacts and the deterioration of the front portion of the dwelling are not considered self-created. Therefore, I would be in support of approval of on that point.
Okay. Yeah, that, the way that's presented does support that's not self-created or personal financial circumstance, so. I would agree. Sometimes that's an easy one, sometimes it's a tough one, that one. So, okay, I think maybe we're all in agreement of that.
I agree, yes.
Yeah. So based on our review of the standards and a review of the suggested outline and any of our comments at this point in time, it appears to me that the potential of adding the porch, the request from the applicant to add the porch and provide a variance of 15 feet within the 5-foot east side setback would be likely that's something that we could make a motion for later on after we get through the second part of this. I think that's pretty much the way we understand that. Okay. I'll ask again before we go into doing the standards for the addition of the sunroom and the gaining the lot coverage and the variance dimensional from each street on that one. If there's any questions of the applicant or if there's any questions amongst ourselves that we would like to ask before we review the standards.
I think the applicants have done a very nice job of preparing the package and making it clear what
Yeah.
they're looking for and have put a lot of work into it. So yes, I think they've done a nice job. Thank you.
Yeah, renderings are nice also. Good thing for computers nowadays, at least, so you can see something, but. Okay, so with that said, then why don't we move along and we'll go into the review of the standards for the second review, which was pertaining to the portion of, call it A and B, lot coverage of and addition of enclosure of a sunroom or area with the referencing also that there is a setback, part of a setback. Well, that's not part of the setback issue. It sort of meets that, doesn't it? Am I correct on that? Would we have to give it a variance on that, or is that because it's attached to the existing approved blue part? Let me make sure I'm sure.
Yeah, it does still require a setback.
It would
variance.
require that. It would require a dimensional for that, right?
We're expanding a non-conformance.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. So it does require that. Yeah, in fact, it's referenced in our notes, so. Well, Jim, you want to start us off again?
Yes. In order to approve this, there have to be practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship in carrying out the strict letter of the law. So standard one is that strict compliance with area, which is one thing we're talking about. Setbacks both are involved here. Frontage, yes, that's the setback. Height or bulk. or density would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or would render conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Strict compliance with the ordinance would not unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose. It is being used for that right now. The property, and it was that way when they purchased it. The property already includes a dwelling and a detached garage with a second floor accessory dwelling unit. The lot is approaching build out, which means all your available square footage have been used up for expansion. And given the maximum lot coverage required by the zoning district, so the rear sunroom, while an attractive and reasonable addition, could be considered excessive relative to the maximum lot coverage required by the zoning district. And lot coverage is something that everybody wants. Everybody wants a bigger house than their lot would allow. We're seeing that very often. And the whole intent of the zoning ordinance is to prevent maximum coverage of the lot, to restrict it to 30%. And in this case, there does not appear to be unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty. There are other options. They could go up, they could eliminate the garage or change the garage somehow perhaps. So I would say the standard is not met relative to the addition on the back of the property for either setback or for lot coverage.
Okay, that's always a tough one. And I think, sorry, what?
Is there any opportunity for me to?
No, we'll go through all of our standards. We'll go through the standards like we are. Yeah. Okay, anyone else have any comments?
I do. I don't have these pages in my packet.
You don't have what?
I don't have the pages that you're,
Oh, you're missing
Reference.
the
I just got the covered deck twice.
I'm reading from page 10.
Do you have another set?
your packet doesn't look very thick, does it?
I'm looking at what.
Oh, you're
what's
reading
sent
off
to
of,
me. Right.
yeah, it's in there though, right?
No,
Not on the electronic file?
correct.
Page 10.
Page 10.
Got it.
Okay. Sorry, you got shorted a package. A hard copy anyway, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Jim, I would say that it is a tough one where, that the compliance, the ordinary, when you do get into the situation we run into quite often and most often with lot coverage, it's hard to talk about the compliance and the frontage, height, bulk, density, that all adds up of those types of things. And as you referenced, there's a lot of situations where a lot of people would like to exceed their situations, and it's one of those. There are a couple in our standards that are a little tough ones to say yes or no to, and the way they work. That was, to me, is one of the harder ones to say yes to. That would be my review of this. I don't know, Matt, I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, I would vote no on number one also.
Yeah, yeah. Rich, anything you, from your experience, have to add with this, with the lot coverage and?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Any feel for it? But
In regards to what?
whether or not, number one, how you feel about number one, whether the expansion of lot coverage in the sunroom and the additional variance would be.
Well, as
Standard meets it?
stated, there's a couple of things, the front, I mean, we've already discussed the front porch, but the sunroom is adding additional enclosed living space. So that's a kind of a different thing. I would like that, you know, sometimes these are kind of hard calls. I would like to think there might be some gray area here. I don't doubt that it is an improvement. And in some sense, I don't, it isn't like it's encroaching on the neighbors or the neighbor's view shed. But the fact is, it's just like we did with, you know, harking back to the previous applicant in a way. Although I remember even there, I kind of wanted to give him a little more latitude, but in a way, but we couldn't because it's sort of in black and white in lot coverage. So therefore, you know, I can't, as much as I might want to, I can't be in favor of adding, as it says elsewhere, really for the next point is it would grant the applicant a significant right beyond what is available to owners of similar sized non-conforming lots and to owners of conforming lots for that matter.
Yeah.
I have to say the applicant makes somewhat of a compelling case that this this lot is fairly unique in the fact that it has the set it that it you know the house is historical and built right on the property line, and also the lot is smaller and is required because it's a corner lot, of course, required as they called it, the dual setbacks of dual front yard setbacks. So, but still, I just can't get around exceeding the lot coverage as stated, so.
Yeah, some of the things like,
It's a tough one.
it's a tough one, yeah, you can look at a couple points, and one of the bigger ones is, you know, whether or not that it would keep them from a permitted use or using it as a, you know, permitted use or anything, or using.
That's the problem, as it says, you know, does this unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted use? I mean, it just seems that to me that it's that strict in the way that the code is lined out here. Does it prevent them from using as a permitted use in that district? No, I mean, the current, you know, does it require this variance? Not technically, they can use it the way it is. I mean, and so if that's true, then you can't give the variance.
Yeah.
It's more black and white than I would like it, but I'm not
That's the nature of the zoning enabling act,
Mhm.
as the state put it through, yeah.
Okay. So I understand your no on that, I guess, is what.
After all that,
That's
yeah,
all right.
somewhere in there is a no,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
it's a no.
Chris?
I agree that it's not appropriate because of this additional space it's using.
And yeah, I do also, I do also have, you know, a tough one on that first one. And I would agree that it is tough to go through with that coverage and that expansion like that based on what it asks. Well, let's go on to the second one. Matt, right?
Sure, I can do the second one. That a variance would do substantial justice to the owner as well as to other property owners in the district, or whether a lesser relaxation would give substantial relief and be more consistent with justice to others. Yeah, a lesser relaxation would allow the front setback reduction for the front porch, would give substantial relief to the applicant and would respect the justice and rights of other property owners. However, that further increase in the size of the dwelling to provide the outdoor living space would grant the applicants a significant right beyond what is available to owners of similar sized non-conforming lots and to owners of conforming lots. So I understand the setback allowance because it's already non-conforming in that aspect, the fact that we are meeting coverage already, and this would exceed coverage. I think that would be all right beyond what is available to other owners.
Yeah, the hard part is of that one is that how it references the I guess with the other building with other properties in the area, you know, available to owners in similar size, non-conforming lots. It references non-conforming lots to owners of conforming areas. It's hard to say there that you know, when there are situations around you can meet conforming, then how is is a lesser relaxation, how much substantial relief, you know, or more consistent with others is where they come back. They let us go one way or the other on those things. Yeah, whether you want to take a left field or a right field, and that's kind of a, you know, kind of a both way thing to me. I don't know if anybody has any tighter feelings on that one. It's a tough one. Or a yes or a no, but it's, you know, we do have the situation where our previous you know, review was similar in an ask. And even though the ask is different and the you know, the final usage is different, you still have the increased lot coverage beyond the maximum.
That's been an issue we've seen several times, and it's difficult to grant a lot coverage variance, because that's the whole intent of the ordinance, is to provide open space in this city and keep it looking like a small town without building out all the lots like you see in some towns where they're wall to wall. So I would agree the standard is not satisfied.
Put you down as a no. Anyone else have a no or a yay on that one?
I agree that it should not be allowed.
Okay, Chris?
I agree that it should not be allowed.
Matt?
Yeah, I said no. I agree.
Yeah,
It's not met.
he was the first no.
That was the first one.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
Okay.
I wrote you down first, sorry, Jim. Okay. All right, let's move on to number 3. And I'll take this one. That the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances of the property and not to general neighborhood conditions. As research and history has kind of been presented, is that reading from it would be that the corner lot designation and nonconformity size within the area is somewhat unique. It is, of course, smaller, a lot, which is, and then, of course, the way the property sits, I would add. The factors, although they do not relegate the lot coverage requirement. Regarding the front yard setback, the corner lot designation, of course, is non-conforming, which we've been through. And then also that the design of the existing facade is needed for a reasonably covered space. That's also into the front. However, related to the lot coverage, you know, at their there's no, really unique circumstances warranting the additional addition or of a sunroom enclosing living space or space or like excessive lot coverage. It's a, there's no unusual thing to having sometimes conformity within a residential space that is livable, whether it's called a sunroom or a living room or a game room or whatever you want to call it, in my opinion. There's always the issue with something that seems to be whether you say that the circumstances of adding this portion of the ask or the application is a unique ask versus the outcome of lot coverage, then it's hard to say that lot coverage really increasing lot coverage for the ask is not exactly something that you feel that is just a general neighborhood situation because it's going over the allowable. So to me, it doesn't work so well for the lot coverage, although as it did for the front porch. But that is something that, the point is there's also been a number of situations here where this property has a lot of nonconformities and a few variances to accommodate nonconformities of what you would consider unique circumstances. And those have been met, not general neighborhood conditions. Well, the way the house sits and has sat on the property line over because of its age and time developed and built before the zoning rules. Yeah, that's understood. It already has those situations, which makes it a little unique, but not related to the lot coverage side or the difference in what they're under or what they're over. I mean, if you're, I know I'm splitting a little hair here, but if you're asking for, if you're 6% under and you're asking for 35.3 over, it doesn't exactly mean you come out even, It still is over. Yeah. So I'm a no on that one, is my opinion. But
I'm a no on that one.
anyone else?
No.
Yeah, I'm also no.
Chris?
No.
All right, Rich, how about you take the famous number 4?
All right, number 4 is that the problem is not self-created or based on personal financial circumstances. I would simply concur with the staff report. The need for the rear sunroom is a personal preference, and the zoning compliance issue is a self-created circumstance, as there are no unique circumstances related to the increased lot coverage for the additional indoor living space. Therefore, it does not meet the requirement.
You agree with that? Okay, so you're a no.
Right.
Jim?
No.
Matt?
No.
Chris?
No.
Bob's a no. That was a pretty easier one to say no to. Okay, so our review of these standards is that it didn't meet any of the standards in our opinions. And of course, even though in order for any reason for us to pass this or make a motion for this to be approved, you would have to meet all four standards. So even if it missed one, it would, you couldn't make a motion to pass it. It's our views that going through it's hard to make it work on any of the standards. So what I'd like to see if there's anyone questions or concerns about what we've gone through. What we've come up with is that we do see the standards and the reason for making a motion for the front porch addition, which would require the east side setback 15 feet with the accommodating the lot coverage, but not the sunroom addition with the additional variance on the east side setback exceeding the lot coverage is the way we've gone through the two standards. Which in short, puts a motion that we would make a motion to approve the front porch as presented to us based on the standards and our reviews and comments, or any other comments that we want to use to additional to the motion. And that the request for the sunroom addition and the expanded lot coverage was not met, would be denied.
Okay.
Proven and denied, basically.
I have a suggested motion.
All right, go ahead. Unless anybody asks any questions before that. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I move to approve the variance request related to section 154.026D submitted by Mark Benz to construct a 254 square foot front porch addition with a variance of 15 feet to the western front setback in brackets East Street to allow a 5-foot setback, and to deny the variance requests necessary to construct a 464 square foot sunroom addition with a reduced western front setback of 13.7 feet and lot coverage increase to 35.3%. The decision is based on the board's findings related to section 154.155B.
Okay. Sarah, do you have that? Did you get the addition of the 15 foot on that? How it's referenced beyond the 15 feet
Yes,
variance beyond the 5-foot setback off of East Street?
yes.
Any discussion? And if there's no discussion, I look for a second on the emotion. So anyone want to, if there's no discussion, further discussion or comments on the emotion?
I would second it.
Matt, you'd like to second it? So Matt, Holly is second the motion. And I would ask Sarah at that point, then whenever you're ready, we can go for a vote.
Bauk,
Yes?
Crawford,
Yes.
Raphael,
Yes.
Dubaziak,
Yes.
and Holly.
Yes.
Okay. So if you follow, I'm sure you did follow us pretty well. We have approved your application, asked for the allowable variance on the front porch, meeting the lot coverage and the setback variance of 15 feet from East Street, but not the sunroom portion and the over lot coverage.
So, gentlemen, at this time, and indulge the board and offer an amendment to my request.
I'll listen to what you have to say a little bit, but there might be. I'll listen. Yeah.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I hear you loud and clear about the lot coverage and we understand that. So rather than argue about why I think that that's not an appropriate logic, I defer that it's completely your decision and that's I'm willing to buy. But I do have somewhat of a secondary proposal that I'd like to ask the board.
Can you, I'm sorry, can you speak in the mic just so the public can hear you?
I'm sorry, I'm deaf, so I have a hard time hearing what's bouncing off behind me. Oh, I apologize.
No, very.
So if Bill and I were to forego the requested variance for the front porch and opt for an alternate option, of which Grayson and I spoke at length about, which would not incur any additional square footage or lot coverage, and we were to amend our request to only include the dimensional and lot setback lot variance for the sunroom, ultimately, of the 281.5 square feet available for build, we would build our 464 square foot, and we would be requesting 182.5 square feet over permitted coverage, which would be slightly over 2%. So we would forego our front porch with a cosmetic solution to protect our front door, which is what was driving this, the front door and the windows. And we would like to request consideration for a rear sunroom that does indeed approximately 2% over lot coverage. So that's over half of what our original ask was. It satisfies our need to protect our home, the front. It gives us the opportunity to work within the constraints, the uniqueness of our property, the fact that our property is 6% smaller, the square footage. To your point, there is no option to go up. The house is built on stilts. It would require the entire house be demolished to do that. Chris and Whitney looked at that. We talked about it. There's just no way to do it. And quite honestly, tearing down a garage with a rental unit on top is just an impractical solution. So with all of that in the mix, would you gentlemen be amenable to reconsidering? And I understand that you're going to go through the same calculus with those same four things, those same four criterion. However, what we're asking is the consideration that we're willing to make that compromise in, our big ask and settle for, something that, that satisfies our practical and functional solution and gives us kind of that sunroom that we want, because we intend to retire here and we want that area for everybody's, I want a room where I don't get eaten by mosquitoes. I mean, that's kind of the practical aspect of it. So is the board open for consideration of that amendment?
Well, first of all, you'd have to submit another application for that, for that. I mean, what was put in front of us tonight was not that option. So we can only judge what was in front of us.
So
that would be an application put to.
We did discuss this and I
apologize because I definitely thought we were discussing maybe a slight variation of you offering to bring in the sunroom. This would be a different application. That is
but that's not what we discussed. I mean, I asked you if I could, and I quote, if I could do like a let's make a deal real time with the board.
And you could
bring that up. And you affirmative that,
the board makes that decision.
So I put pen to paper and came up with what I thought would be a reasonable compromise with, kind of the, what I, after reading the feedback, the commentary, that was well past what you and I had that discussion. So, it just seems prejudicial and having to wait another month to do all of this, submit another $850. It just seems, a bit, but I understand.
Yeah, it is a tough one. I mean, like, we can't sit here and say yes or no. We have to judge every application on its own standing that comes in front of us. Unless it was presented to us in that sense. In this case, it wasn't. So I can't make a decision for you whether or not to do that.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Bill. Okay. Well, let's see, what else we got left here? We're getting to, we've done do we have any public comment portion, before I close or
Close to.
general comments from anybody? Is there anybody online at all that we don't know of that's out there?
Correct.
Okay. So we've done our action. We can close the public meeting at this time and go on to our remaining items of our agenda, which is number 7, communications. And I guess there was a letter, John Thomas?
Yes, that
That
was
guy?
in the public hearing as well.
Pardon?
That was,
So
it
that was
listed for
that
the
one? Okay,
public
that was-
hearing
yeah,
as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Any commission comments? Number 8.
Nope.
Just general, okay.
Yeah, this is us. I mean, go ahead if it's more about our board and.
So I was just noodling about this corner lot thing and the double setbacks. And I would wonder if the zoning planning commission or the zoning board would actually make some allowance for people that have a side setback that's a full front setback to use the side number for calculating square footage. Does that make
I
sense?
think that would but that would be up to them.
But
But I think that'd open a lot of problems, but.
For calculating square footage, it is included, but it's the setback. You've got 2 setbacks.
Yeah,
But
For a
this,
corner
He's
lot.
saying, use one of the setbacks.
I'm saying use for calculation of the coverage number. You use the side as half. It's 20 foot instead of 10 foot, right?
No, that's included in lot size. Lot size is wall to wall, the dimensions of the lot line to lot line,
Right.
both ways. That's your lot. And then 30% of that area is allowed for lot coverage of that total area. And then where you can put the building is where the setbacks come in and where the corner lot comes in.
As long as you stay within the boundaries, technically. But when you have a house, even though if it's outside the boundaries like this, you still have to calculate
But
that.
I thought what he was saying was, maybe I'm missing it, is
No,
you would incorporate some portion of the setback. Well, no, that's already included.
I get what you're saying. You're not changing the square footage of the lot. You're just saying you can't place something 20 feet on
Right.
both sides.
Part of that is for corner clearance for traffic.
Right.
You can't build right out at the corner and block somebody's view of oncoming. And corner lots are not unique. You know, every block's got 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's like a pizza.
Pardon? Like a pizza? Yeah.
It's square.
Yeah.
Jets.
And in some respect, everybody's lot is unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
And this is one of the smaller lots, but it's not the smallest.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, it's not excessively small, let's put it that way. It is smaller than normal, but not excessive. Hard to say what somebody's opinion is of excessive, but, anyway. Yeah, it's a good point. Sometimes there's things, but we ask the planning commission to look at. Corner lots, well, I'll add to this. Corner lots are always a situation where it's tough because you do have both sides to deal with.
Yeah.
And it creates a smaller footprint already to put something on there. And that's just the way they are. And in this case, fortunately, this house is not even shifted back even more. It wouldn't even give them the space to do what they have to do. So,
And the fact that it's on stilts, I mean, you raise it up, you put in a foundation, you set it back down. Now it's not on stilts anymore. Um, people raise houses all the time. I did it with the house that I moved from Spear Street out to Lorimar Lane. I cut it in half and moved it and moved the garage. You lift them up, you move them. The house across from me, which was a barn, they lifted it up, they moved it forward, they put it on a ground floor, they made a 3-story out of it. But you lift houses and set them back down all the time. That's common.
Kind of what you do.
Yeah,
If you want to have a long-term.
if you want to save that house, yeah.
Right.
And the previous owners told us that the foundation
Same
was in
thing.
trouble.
Same thing. They told us that. And I was thinking as we're a little bit along your line, well, you know, what could we, is this something that we should make a recommendation that it's a circumstance, you know, that we should refer to the planning commission? But I go, there doesn't seem to be any problem with people building big enough houses on lots here. I mean, for us to encourage a higher density and less and more lot coverage, there's just not. So I quickly abandoned that idea.
Yeah. And I want to support your opinion, Bob. This is not some game show, let's make a deal. You submit an application, you get it cleared by Grayson and the staff, and you give us time to deliberate on it and review it and look at it and see what's the real situation here, and does it meet the law or does it not meet the law? So this is not a game show.
Okay, I was kind of concerned though, because it still wouldn't have met the lot coverage requirement.
It wouldn't have
Which
been.
was the whole basis for us rejecting it, so yeah.
It's just a question of whether you wanted 2.5% or 5% in overage,
Right.
something like that. One's 467 and the other one's
Yeah,
257.
either shave off like 3 feet or something
Well,
like that.
okay, I guess we've deliberated and
and sometimes, you know, not to say that, I mean, it's always the cliche, but every case does stand on its own. You know, if they came back and all of a sudden there was a requirement as that space they wanted, or some other space they want to do, there was something was of more of a necessity of a house or something that was really needed. They don't have a bathroom or something like that, then you might have to be consideration that you can go over the lot coverage and there's your situation where you can really talk about why this is
Yeah,
a good
besides
reason
that,
for it. Yeah.
they'd be giving up the outhouse.
Yeah, they'd be giving up the outhouse at that point. On the, I got a couple of things on other commissions things is that, Dick Bont, and his wife Stacy have, sold their house on Spear Street. And, they are moving out to Clearbrook Country Club condos there. So he, since they've already closed, he was not included in tonight's meeting. So, so he will be stepping off the board, and we will be looking at, you know, adding a full time or however. So that's would be back to Grayson's hands there, and applications coming in. So that's Rick has been on the board a long time and want to recommend it. You know, he's done a nice job and thank him for his work, and we'll have to do that maybe somehow. But because of the unusual circumstance that they closed already 2 weeks ago, we felt technically he, you know, is not worth having him here tonight, or didn't think that would be good. So, so anyway, that was one. The other thing is I know it's tough for you guys, but sooner you can get us the packets, with the link, of course, is, you know, the right link is good.
That's my fault.
But also, I would like to, and you've done a good job with getting us this information. I think, I don't know if we ended up just off a number tonight because we weren't sure who was all going to be here, or you didn't get a full pack. we'll make sure. But the other one is if you can reach out as soon as I mean, not soon as, but when, I'd like maybe to see us do a little more, reach out for who can attend more than just a week before the meeting. If you know there's a meeting coming up, at least maybe a couple weeks to see who's around, because sometimes we may have a schedule or something that, we could change our own personal life and make a meeting, but if we knew it early on, because if we don't catch it in the paper and we only get notice email a week before or less that, can you attend? That's not good.
It's not in the paper anymore. It's only on the city website, isn't it?
No,
The public hearing.
it has to be published in the paper,
Okay.
and I don't go.
I usually I pick up a paper. I didn't, and I'll always look because that's where I'll see it.
Yeah.
first. And I missed it or didn't get that.
I didn't see this one either.
Paper.
I did see it on the city website, but
Yeah.
I don't follow the website, but
Yeah, double check, but I did send it over.
But we do need, I expressed this too, that we need, but I just wanted to make sure everybody else had the same idea. That's just not enough notice to people, especially for some of my more well-heeled compatriots here that might go.
you mean because you're so social, you may have other plans.
Well, you may take trips away and things.
So anyway, the earliest the better, that you're pretty sure we're having a meeting. You can at least let us know there is one coming up. And, if anybody knows they're not going to be able to make the meeting, or at that time, we know things can change, but if it's 2 weeks, it's better than 1 week, at least. And I know you have to put a notice in, 30 days prior or something like that, so.
15.
Maybe 15, yeah.
how are we looking for June?
So you do know 2
I
weeks.
haven't had any more.
Pardon?
I haven't had any applications come in.
Well, 15 is still a good start for us.
That's pretty tight, yeah. So, yeah, if you could do, the sooner the better, let's put it that way, in case, my wife says, hey, nope, we already made plans, and I go, oh, I didn't know it. So, we do know it's the third or the second Thursday of the month, right? But that doesn't mean we spend our lives just sitting around 5 days before trying to decide whether I can go out, I'm gonna be busy that night, so.
Well, it's been a little irregular lately.
Or Chris, he's always busy, so.
I'm always sitting at home.
All right, anything else on communications? Commission communications? Public comments is left, we already got is Trent up here sleeping. Thanks for your help today on Dick's, Grayson response on Dick.
Of course, yeah. I'm always around at your meetings to help out. I think it was a good meeting. Well deliberated and well thought through. Just a quick comment while I have a second here. To the back, the sort of cut a deal comment. I just want to note that I think that would also present some notice problems because it is a public hearing and the public would have to have an opportunity to show up or comment on what was being proposed. And so in the absence of an application, I think all the points that were made by the board are also valid, but I would also, caution against that because of just from a notice perspective as well. So I think you made the right call on that, but just wanted to add my 2 cents.
Yeah, okay, thanks, appreciate it.
I was also kind of told the same thing, is if it's not available to put in the packet for the public to see, then we don't talk.
Then it don't count.
Yeah, anyway, in order to go through both of those situations, if we just would have gone through both of them, they would have gotten nothing. So, and even the way it was, our consulting and Grayson's proposal to us was just like, hey, these are your options. And if you do them both at once, we're going to deny them both. I mean, a no is a no if they're combined.
Yeah.
So, okay, and that, I'll call it adjourn. Oh, we got to do, we got to have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
I'll stop it. I'll make it.
And
All signify by saying aye?
Aye.
All right.
the
We're
the
done.
gavel has gone down.